Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Hawkeye Freefall, issue number 1. This was a good comic book, man. I'm going to talk all about that after we give credit where credit is due. Let's get started with that right now. We got Matthew Rosenberg doing the writing. The art is by Otto Schmidt. Letters are VC's Joe Sabino. Cover, Kim Jacinto and Tamara Bonvillain. A couple of variant covers out there. And Carlos Lau does the graphic design and the logo design. Okay, so we get Hawkeye doing his thing. He's happy-go-lucky. The way that he's been written in the last decade or so, he's very easygoing, and just he walks up. He's like, "Oh, hey, look, it's the Hood. He's doing his thing. He doesn't have to actually be here. He could just have his people be here, but he chooses to be here because he's stupid." Maybe he's stupid. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he just thinks he's untouchable. Maybe he thinks he's untouchable because he's stupid. Maybe everybody's right. Maybe there's a third side to it. Who knows? But the idea is that this is how it is right now. So he shows up and he sucker punched. I don't care what what Clint Barton says. All right, he straight sucker punched this dude. There's a really fun conversation back and forth, like a little parlay. Like, you know, you sucker punched me. I did not. Did too. Did not. Did too. And it's actually done really well. All right. It seems like it's silly. No. It's actually done really well between these two because both of these guys are jokes essentially, right? The Hood, super powerful dude with like demonic guns and demonic hood that he can do all this demonic stuff with, but he's like a freaking small-time racketeer. What are you doing? You know, and Hawkeye, the guy who can't miss, he does all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to act like I'm bigger than I am, and I'm going to just walk around with the biggest freaking attitude going. Wow, Thor can't fit in the room with your head, Hawkeye, but hey, you know what I'm saying? Both of them are jackasses, and I love it. And seeing these, like, if this is the main villain all throughout this first arc at least, or even just an ongoing throughout this run, oh my God, how great that would be. Just have him show up every once in a while. Because towards the end of the conversation with Hood, basically he just shows how powerful he is, all right? And we don't get to see Clint's reaction. That's probably for the best because that leaves it up to our imagination, all right? Did he freak out or did he just stand there? But the idea is he did what he was told. He did what he was told. So you take of it what you need to take of it to continue on with the story. That's the way that I look at it as, and it's literally left up to our interpretation. I love when that's done right. Hint, hint, that was done right in this part. And then after that, we're pretty much finished with him. The whole premise of this first arc, at the very least, is that there's apparently a new Ronin out there. Now, the conversation is brought up to people who have worn the Ronin costume before. Fun fact, Daredevil was the first person who was actually supposed to wear that costume, but when the fans guessed that it was Daredevil, they changed it and made it this new character called Echo instead. Interesting. Anyway, and Blade is the other person who'd worn the costume before. But Bucky, who makes an appearance in this with Sam Wilson, the Falcon, they very easily brush this off. Now, I like that Bucky and Falcon are in this too because there's going to be a Bucky and Falcon TV series and comic book coming out, and I'm looking forward to both of them. So having these two together, yes, it's a very good fit. The two people who will wield the shield. I like that. Even though the original who will wield the shield was actually Bucky and Captain America proper, Steve Rogers, but you get the gist. Nobody needs to be picky with this one. Excuse me. So, having these two come in, and they're both like, oh, we're going to play good cop and bad bird. That was cool. Sam using Red Wing to purposely take a dump on Hawkeye was surprisingly satisfying because of the way that it played out. I'm literally thinking to myself, this is toilet humor, right? But I found myself laughing at him like, all right, fine, you bastard. It worked. This is turning out to be a pretty fun issue. I get the very distinct feeling this is definitely going to be a fun run. Yeah, it was hyped and for very good reason. It genuinely lived up to all of that hype. The way that Hawkeye is written in this, where like he'll say something and then the little purple dialogue box shows up where he's thinking something else, especially when he's in an actual conversation with somebody later, multiple people later, is really done very well. There's also a social commentary in here. And I know there's Well, more of a political, not a social, more of a political commentary. But yeah, social enough, right? It bleeds into that. I know there's a lot of people who want to say that, they don't like politics and comic books, but this is a channel for people who actually like comic books. And if you like comic books, you definitely like politics in your books because they've always been in our books. So there's the conversation here about how the Hood, who is actually the main bad guy here, he was hiring these people to go off and kill. Well, basically, I'm not gonna give you the spoiler there, but there was supposed to be murder, death, kill involved in this. All right, to quote Demolition Man, and these guys were hired to do that. Some of these guys didn't know what the job actually was, and maybe that's true, maybe it's not. Who knows? It's like when you show up in court. I don't care if it's the slightest fender bender in the world. You come in with the freaking the neck brace on, the crutch, and the cast and stuff like. You really try and play it up, like pain and suffering. Anyway, so that okay, cool. I'm down. And these guys show up though, and some of these guys actually have real sob stories. Dude, I've got 2 kids. You're setting my bail for $50,000. I don't have $50,000. The only reason why I should, not knowing who these guys were or what the job was, I only showed up for this because I need money. And you set me up with a $50,000 bail? I'm never going to get out of bail. When are you actually going to give me my case? I'm not, you're telling me I'm guaranteed a speedy trial. First off, we don't even hardly do trials anymore. They're all about plea bargaining now. Everything is about plea bargaining and taking, it's like, okay, well, if you admit to this lesser thing, then boom, and then all of a sudden, well, now we got you on a criminal record. Now it's going to be easier to get you next time. That's the system that we live in today here in America. I don't know about any place else, but that's the system that we live in. That's really messed up. That's fussed. By the way, I am an American, but I'm living in Canada, so anyway. So yeah, that was good. Meanwhile, the Hood walks free. Not only walks free, not because he's got the bail money. No. He was actually given an apology by the court. And it's a very solid commentary. I'm going to be sad a little bit right now because I actually DM'd on Twitter Matthew Rosenberg, and I asked him, hey, would you be so kind as to do an interview with me last Saturday on my podcast, the live cast, because I wanted to promote this book. Well, with all due respect, Mr. Rosenberg, I don't need you in order to promote your book. It just would have been really cool. Rosenberg has this way of, he can write, and I've talked about this before, whatever character it is that he's writing, changing, doing whatever he wants to, he can be gritty. He can make the characters scary. He can make them fun. He can write a detective story, a crime story. He can write a political intrigue story. He can just write a good old fun story about Hawkeye just being a jackass. The guy really has this amazing range. And literally the only other person that I can think of, modern day, who like modern day newer writer, he's probably been writing for like 10 years or something like that. But, here in Marvel, the only other person I can think of who does that realistically on that level is Tom Taylor. And these two are each in great company. This is a fantastic book. The art in this book, dude, one person, Otto Schmidt, one person did the pencils, the inks, and the colors. I'm sorry, you can't find that many people who do that. I could name Phil Noto. I think that he did all the work in the recent Daredevil book, right? But most people don't do that, can't do that. And Otto Schmidt was like, I got this. And he does. He really does. The art really fits the style of the book. The art kind of, in many ways, it feels like it sets the pace of the book, too. Everything about this book, if you're okay with just a fun book that also has a little bit of politics in it, just a little bit, but they're all facts and verifiable, I think that this might very well be the book for you. I genuinely, heartfelt love this book. Genuinely, heartfelt. A little upset that he just ignored my freaking tweet, man. What's up with that? What was it not like proper enough? Should I send an email instead? I don't know your email, man. Anyway, all the love in the world. I've met Matthew Rosenberg twice at Fan Expo Canada. Genuinely a stand-up guy. Any compliment that you give him, he actually literally, physically takes a step backwards. Like he's not used to the idea, or he just doesn't like the idea of getting a compliment. Maybe that's why he didn't show up, because I absolutely would have gushed all over. Like, dude, you're the best. Oh my God, you're amazing. So pretty much that's how the interview would have went anyway. But yes, definitely consider picking up this book. All right. It's a fun book. I can't see anybody hating on this book. Then again, all I got to do is do a scroll. Like, oh, look, it's the Comicsgate side. Yeah, of course they're going to have a problem with this. Anyway, for us real comic book fans, grab the book. Enjoy. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.